I was not ready to scream at the camera. However, I finally have the Petty Chevy running, or at least for now. First time in a while that I've had it fired up, but I'm at a point where I think that I can actually go ahead and try and test drive the vehicle. I have all of my brake lights, my tail lights, hopefully my clutch works, hopefully my brake pedal works, but that's what the point of a test drive is for. So there's a few other things that I have to finalize still. I have to steal the steering wheel from the Volunteer, which originally came from the Petty Chevy. It went to the Volunteer, now it's coming back to the Petty Chevy. I want to take a look at my clutch pedal and see how that feels, because the last time that I started this and tried to engage a gear, there was a lot of grinding. So I think my clutch pedal may not be pushing the slave cylinder all the way as it should, so I'm going to take a quick look at that. But hopefully, the next thing that I'll be doing after all of that is a quick little 1 mile or 2 mile putt around the farm, around the perimeter of the farm on the roads. I do not recommend that you try that. I'm too excited to not. I have 2 weeks left to get this vehicle at least to a driving condition for the show that it is actually scheduled to be at. So here's the deal. So the original reason why I had come up with the deadline of the end of April to have one, if not both of these cars finished, was twofold. One, so I could have a deadline. I didn't want this to just be a project that went on and on forever, because eventually I have to sell the thing. I have to get it to a customer. It has to be finished at some point. And two, there is a show coming up on Saturday, April 29th, for ESB Performance. It is their spring show. One of my former colleagues that I work with is one of the event planners for that organization, and I asked him a while ago when he knew that I had these Legends cars, and he asked me, do you think you could have one of them at the shows? I said, do you think you could have space for me even if it doesn't run? And he said, sure. So that was the fire that I needed to at least get one of these vehicles working by the end of April. I have everything else that I need to in the interim finished and figured out for the Petty Chevy. Most of the suspension components are okay or usable. I have my headlights installed. I have my accessory running lights installed. I have my front forward signals on, my rear tail lights, my rear turn signals, even a license plate mount, just so I know a license plate can go in there with a license plate, lights, my kill switch, my fuel pumps, etc., etc. I have enough done on this vehicle where I feel comfortable enough, as comfortable as I can, test driving the vehicle for at least a quick 1 or 2 mile drive. So that's what I'm going to work on trying to actually accomplish today, is get the vehicle running to a degree where I can start to test, does the slave cylinder work? Do the brakes work? Does the accelerator work? Now, I still do not have a tachometer or speedometer in this car, so I have to be very careful and just use my ear as far as I can tell to find the limits of the car. I also want to just try and make sure that I can at least try and get through all of the gears respectively, upshift and downshift, and see if the vehicle can at least be mobile under its own power. So enough ranting and raving and rabbling. Let's finish up what we need to. So, as much as I should have been prepared for this, I forgot my tripod. So everything is on the handheld where I can get the shots. What I'm going to be working on here is there's a couple of things that I've got to make sure to vacuum out, say like all of these extra little butt connectors that got stuck in places. I want to make sure my clutch pedal has enough space to it and is throwing enough, because like I said, the last time I tried to get this in gear, I did feel a lot of grinding when I went to go in first. So I want to make sure that clutch pedal is disengaging the clutch as much as it possibly can before I try and get this thing towards some semblance of the road. So there's going to be exchanging the steering wheel, and then just me real quickly checking on the clutch pedal. Let's jump into it. So I'm going to start by trying to extend the clevis a little bit so that I can see if I can get the clutch pedal to go down any further. Well, clutch pedal engage further without actually having to adjust the pedal itself. So I'm just going to go ahead and lengthen that rod a little bit, test it, and see what happens. Okay, so I have my clutch pedal adjusted. I did have to grind off just a tiny bit of the pedal stop on the back of it because I didn't feel like I was getting down far enough with the clutch. It didn't feel like it was engaging or disengaging all of the way. And I didn't want my clevis to be adjusted so far out because it already has been trimmed and it was currently sitting at about half thread engagement. So I just cut a little bit of that clutch pedal stop off on the back, adjusted the clevis out about 2 or 3 half turns, so like 1.5 turns, and now I feel like I'm getting a pretty good full engagement or disengagement on the clutch. Got everything tightened up there. Now I'm going to just get in here and try and vacuum some of the crap out of the car that has accumulated, cutting things, butt connectors getting fallen everywhere. Just make it a little nicer. Then I'll get my steering wheel on. Then maybe I'll get this off of the dollies and see if she'll move. Fingers crossed. Alright, so I've got the car running, I've got my camera installed, I made sure to check the tightness of the lug nuts on the wheels. I wish I had a torque wrench with me, but I don't, so I'm just getting them as tight as I could. I had forgotten how absolutely low these cars are to the ground. It's been so long since I've had either the Petty Chevy or the Volunteer on its own 4 wheels, and I totally forgot how absolutely low these cars are. I was barely able to get my jack out from the back when I had it under the rear bumper and lifting it and pulling it out. There's probably like 3 or 4 inches of ground clearance there. About 4 1/4. So just low, absolutely low. I am really hoping, I'm really hoping that I can get this car out onto the road, because the farm driveway is not the greatest, and that's not a complaint, it's just a statement. It's not the greatest, but let's do it. screamed. I know I screamed, and I know I'm gonna scream, but it's out of the garage! Momentous! Alright, so I'm gonna do something really dumb, but I'm gonna be safe about it. I have gloves, I have a helmet, I'm gonna have my camera on the camera, on the car. Oh god, I'm so scared. Oh boy, okay, well, no time like the present, let's do it. At this point I had recorded approximately 30 minutes of action camera footage. However, I recorded in 4K and my computer is not processing that footage well at all. But I do have some footage that a few people were happy enough to provide me with. And with that, the first successful maiden voyage of the Petty Chevy is in the books. I will tell you this, I was terrified. I nearly S my P on every single spot that I was going through. At first, I couldn't even see over the hood when I started going over hills, so that was very scary. However, I was able to make it to one location to do a quick shakedown and check over everything. And then I went back home, got my wife, and she helped me bring the car back just to make sure I had someone following me, make sure all my lights were working, and so I could also try and get an idea of how fast the car was going. So with that, the car is mobile and will be able to make it to the ESB Spring Show on April 29th. Thanks for making it to the end of the episode. Make sure to like and subscribe to New Yankee Auto Systems. Check out the rest of the playlist for the Petty Chevy build and follow us on our socials at Facebook, TikTok, and we had Instagram, but that's no more. So make sure to get caught up on the rest of the Petty Chevy build. Hopefully soon we're going to be able to get the volunteer build started and get its test drive done. I'd love to have both cars at the show, but I might have to settle for one. But I'm still very enthusiastic and energetic about the fact that I've got one of them working and on the road. Oh, it's so amazing. So, as I ride this high, for now, see you on the next one.